What's up, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Noble is Global. You all, I'm in Thailand. I'm exhausted. I just did some scuba diving for the past 2 days. I lost some nitrogen in my system. But I am happy to do this video. This is going to be an interesting video because I'm going to be talking about 5 things you should keep in mind when purchasing your next investment property, specifically with the goal of doing short-term rentals. Let's go. Enough. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is location. Your location will make or break your investment property. I've lived in Atlanta and in New York, right? And people from Atlanta will be like, oh my gosh, like, you're paying how much? You could buy a mansion. And you know what people from New York are going to say? It's not New York. And they're right, because there's a certain level of excitement, events, cultural significance that a place like New York has. It constantly attracts tourism and demand in that area, which means if you are able to secure a place in New York, now you can't do short-term rentals via Airbnb because we know that's banned, but I'm just using it as an example, okay? You will hit the jackpot. You will always be booked and busy. It depends on the location, of course, but generally speaking, New York will outpace, like New York City will outpace Atlanta just because of the location in terms of demand. So that's something that you really, really have to take into consideration. And with location comes a couple of subcategories as well, which includes safety. Safety is paramount. You know, with my male privilege, I didn't, like, as a traveler, I never really thought about how important a location might be for women, just to be able to feel safe to walk at night, to not need to travel with a group, to be able to feel comfortable traveling solo. These are things that encompass the importance of a location, and safety is one of those things. Okay, number 2, easy maintenance, okay? How old is this home? How old is this apartment that you're thinking about? For me, I don't mess with crawl spaces because that's just like a place where mold and animals can grow and fester. So I just stay away from crawl spaces because for me, that's not like a maintenance issue that I really want to take on. And it's just going to end up costing me more in the long run, and also like mental space in my head. But in addition to that, you know, how old is your home? Was it built before the 80s? If so, now you're going to be worrying about asbestos when you're, you know, trying to scrape the popcorn ceiling off. Or maybe structural issues that weren't addressed in the 80s, they might be improved in the 2000s. Generally speaking, construction as it gets newer gets better. What kind of floors do you have? Are they like wood floors? You know, do they have to be treated ever so often? Like what kind of plaster, drywall, things like that. Just overall, like when you're looking and you're scoping out different houses, a good way to address maintenance is you're just gonna have to get a quality inspection because they will illuminate issues with the house before you purchase it, which will save you some money when you're at the closing table, but also over the lifetime of you owning this investment property. So do not skip the inspection and do not overlook maintenance. Okay, number 3, it's going to be the home type, okay? If you're not somebody that wants to do the lawn, then I wouldn't really suggest getting a single family home with a big bed of grass, okay? That's just going to be an extra expense for you to take on if that's not something you're prepared for. For me, it's actually not that big of a deal, but some people prefer townhomes, okay? Or you're looking at condos. Now, with the home type, you need to be aware of the HOA. I personally live in a no HOA household. I love it that way. I'm not paying an extra $400 or $500 for, you know, a gate or a pool or for somebody to tell me what color to paint my house. I made a whole other video about this, by the way, so go check that out when it comes out. But anyhow, your house type will determine a lot of your expenses, whether you know it or not. If you're going to be in a condo, you're most likely going to pay some sort of HOA fee, townhomes included, some single family homes. So keep that in mind. Make sure you have all the bylaws. Make sure you know if there are any rental restrictions, because that will cost you the amount you could be making in potential rental income, and then it won't be an investment property anymore. So make sure you pay attention to that. Single family home, condo, townhome, all of that stuff. HOA or fee simple. Make sure you know upfront before you make that purchase. Number 4, the amenities. People overlook this all the time. Okay, does your place have an in-unit washer and dryer? If you're trying to sell your place to digital nomads or families, you're gonna need an in-unit washer and dryer. It will pay itself off just to have those hookups in your house and eventually to get those appliances. Do you have a dishwasher? Are you looking for a place that has a kitchenette instead of a full-blown range and kitchen and things like that? That's something to look into. The pool, okay? I've had a lot of people talk to me about, oh my gosh, this place has a pool. I think this is a winner. The pool, yes, while it might increase the value of your home in the short term, like when you're buying it and in terms of the equity in the home, for me, it's a little dicey because there's a lot of mental real estate that it takes up because, you know, like somebody's kid can drown in the pool. You're going to have to end up paying more in insurance. I'm not sure if it's necessarily better or worse. I think it's more attractive in the beginning, but it's just a little bit more of a headache over time. And it may or may not be worth the investment depending on the kind of person that you are, because you will be managing this property in the future. So make sure you keep that in mind. All right, and last but not least, number 5, equity. Okay, so just to explain in layman's terms, if you purchase a house for $100,000, I know this is just an example, right? But let's just say the house's value is at $150,000 or $180,000, right? That means there's $50,000 to $80,000 worth of equity in the home that you have access to. That means you could pull out money from your home in the form of a loan. Like, I wouldn't recommend it necessarily because that's how banks will come after you later, but it's just something that's available to you. Your home is like literally your line of credit now, and you won't have to worry about selling it in the future because it's appraising more than you purchased it. And equity is a huge, like, that's like where you're going to be making the bulk of your money. It's not upfront in the month to month. It's going to be over time. Like, we're talking about years now, not just 1 year, but like, imagine what your house might be worth in 5 years. Capturing that positive equity is going to really determine whether or not this is a great investment property or just a moderate success. Okay, so with all of that information, I know it's a lot, but I hope that this is helpful because I want you to really get the biggest bang for your buck. Make sure you keep these 5 things in mind. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.